position. Okay? I just want to quickly mention, before I completely leave this field, about the fact that there was alternative thinkers and people who are querying this whole magnetism thing. The electromagnetism, the laws of electromagnetism are not complete. We do not have a full understanding, and there seems to be some kind of effort to suppress certain knowledge. And the person I'm particularly interested in is a guy called Bibas Day, who has got probably the most hilarious physics website on the internet. This guy is running a campaign against the establishment because he believes that his research is being suppressed. It's not, he doesn't believe it, it is being suppressed because he believes that there is a solution to the electromagnetic laws that has massive implications for our understanding of our reality. He's made friends with this Romanian physicist because basically he's saying that the magnetic field lines are evidence of the ether, of just like a pure run of this ether energy. And I just want to say that there are small groups of scientific thinkers who run against completely different ideas, and they shouldn't be ignored. Just want to say he had a paper published, and I believe that he has got some ideas that serious scientists need to start looking at. He talks about a source-free magnetic structure, something that has mass, but it's magnetism. It exists as pure magnetism. And I feel that he has a solution for what these balls of light are. And the reason why he's been suppressed is because the implications are massive. Absolutely massive. And he says, according to him, he has been told by the physics establishment that he is correct, but they still refuse and will not publish his work. They don't want people understanding the implications of what he has discovered. And I just want people to be aware of the fact that we are very structured in what we're allowed to know and what we're not allowed to know. There is definitely an effort to keep certain things away from the general public and from thinking minds. And I feel that when all this thing starts to heat up, because it's going to, the presence of another life form on this planet, people are going to want to know, well, how come? You know, how can this be true? I just want to point out, look, these are the thinkers I feel have actually done the work. They've done the groundwork already, so that more people can understand quickly and filter and send that information out. Because I feel it's not good for people to be in doubt and to be concerned and to be worried. People need to know the truth as quickly as possible. The other thing I just want to mention is I had another shock when I found out that a former British Chief of Defence Staff felt that UFOs were essentially a religious matter. In that case, then, why don't the metaphysical community talk about it? I write a column in the Paradigm Shift magazine, and I didn't get the impression that the people running the magazine actually understood this. I just want people to be aware of the fact that a certain, very elite group of people had a totally different understanding of what UFOs were. And now it's all coming out. Okay? There's an article here that I picked up the information from, and it seems to be within a certain group there was an awareness that the UFOs represented spiritual forces, spiritual entities. But again, I don't totally agree with our definition, because if you go into certain Christian circles, they think that all UFOs are demons. I do not believe that. I believe there is a shadow biosphere. There's a whole world of life in a completely different makeup to us. They are plasma beings, that we have creatures, and then we also have very intelligent objects. We have things that look more like machines than they do look anything. It's just the makeup, but it's an extremely broad, wide spectrum. And you can't make hard and fast rules for the whole lot of them, quite frankly. So here, I don't think this is coming out very well here. It's a little bit dark. But this thing looks like a bird. Someone sent me this picture because they wanted to know if I'd seen anything like it. And I said, no, I haven't seen anything like it. It looks, I know it's hard to see, but it looks like a bird type thing. And they said that they were seeing flashes of light. And then they just took this picture blind. And then this came out at Sedona, Arizona. And this is a very famous rock. I can't quite know what it's called. This is another picture. This was taken by a friend of mine in Norway. And I'm not going to show many of these pictures. It's just, I feel like giving an update to my essay. Quite frankly, again, this is very, very dark, and I don't know what the other picture is going to be like. But there's actually a lake in the background here. I know you can't see it. If you're interested, I'll probably let you see what it looks like after the lecture, so you can see it clearly. What happened was he said he took two pictures. The first one came out normal, and the second one looked like it was daytime. Instead of it being nighttime, it came out as daytime. And these things appearing. That looks like a creature. Literally, all this are these creatures. You can't see it on this picture because it's too dark. This is why I highlighted it. But these things look like tails, like a spine. And then you've got like this head thing. Does that look like a UFO with little green men in it? No. Not at all. Not at all. So when I get these ufologists and they're coming out with all their stories of metallic spacecraft, I'm thinking, but that's not all that's going on. There is a shadow biosphere. This looks to be like creatures. I call them golden dragons. I just really, for me, I was stunned by this picture. The person who took it was a friend of mine. He said, I took this picture and I'd like you to have a look at it. I'm going, oh, can I have this picture? Can I have this picture? It is absolutely incredible. There is a life form on this planet. Many people call them the elementals. They are appearing. They are appearing, and we are starting to see this other life form, what I call the golden dragons. And they are going to be just one of many different types. Okay? I just wanted to do a little section just to point out that why we're getting these really strange announcements. You know, the Argentinian Air Force have just announced that they're going to investigate UFOs. We've got the French UFO department that's, it's not a government agency, but it's sponsored by the government, if you know what I mean. They've just taken on an astrobiologist to work full-time investigating UFOs. There is something, they don't want to say the truth, but they already know. If you read between the lines in the literature, the French already know this. So there's lots and lots of press releases going on explaining this understanding that we are not alone, but a lot of them are just too frightened to say it, but I think there's going to be an announcement soon. Okay, we're going to change track now and talk about the new sphere, and I have to speed up because I'm taking too long, quite frankly. Quite frank, this is just a pretty picture. I was trying to compete with the other pictures on the internet about the noosphere, and I didn't want to copy anybody else's work. So this is a scientific organisation, and quite frankly, they don't tend to be worried about copyright. So basically, we've had philosophers that have talked about Earth having some kind of mind around the planet. And we've had people right from the beginning of the century talking about the noosphere, talking about Earth having a consciousness, a global mind. We've had people like Oliver Reiser, who I feel is a very elite scientist who liked to integrate information. And when he found out about the radiation belts, he thought this is where the mind was being held. This was the mind of the planet. So you have the core of the Earth was seen as more to do with the way the Earth works, but the mind was really about how all the different creatures and humans, that's where that energy was being held. The morphogenetic fields were being held in the radiation belts around Earth. Just want to point out that this is the usual portrayal of the radiation belts, and we tend to see like this is one belt, inner belt, and then another outer belt here, this one here, and radiation sort of around it. But I want to point out that this is a very old picture from NASA. Here you have currents flowing in the radiation. You can compare this to being like aura, and this is being like, it's almost like a DNA strand. You will not see many pictures at all like this. They do not want you to think in any way, shape and form, think that this is the Earth's DNA. This is information carrying fields, but it looks remarkably like DNA to me. You will not see many pictures, and I've treasured this picture, because they normally, if they're going to show you these belts of currents, they just show you one strand, but they never show you two. They do not want you getting the impression that this is anything to do with a living entity. That's just my opinion, but it's just an extremely unusual picture from NASA, probably from the 60s, when they first discovered the radiation belts. So here I just want to talk about the Global Consciousness Project, that you're aware of the fact that we have scientists that are trying to identify this global mind around the planet. And we seem to have a project that I think has been very successful. We have hundreds of scientists, engineers, actually cooperating and creating a network that is picking up data that seems to imply that human consciousness can somehow be detected, and that when there's shift in big events taking place on the planet, somehow that can be registered. So here we have just the standard information on their website about the location of these, they call them eggs, but basically I'm going to go back here. Random Event Generators, REGs, and they're basically a device that just randomly spits out data. But what they found, due to experiments at Princeton University, is if a human focuses on the machine, they can influence the machine to actually change. And that's because there's an electric current. There is energy flowing from the humans that can literally affect the machine. This is a fact. They've demonstrated it time and time again. So then what they did was they went to the next stage and said, okay, can we pick up this influence of the mass of humanity affecting machines all around the planet? So this is what this project is. So this is now the latest. They've now got 123 stations around the planet, literally just constantly picking up information. and basically then they process this information, and what they've said is that, and I'm going to read this, we can't take this as proof of an awakening of global consciousness